night, so we appreciate you giving us this early pop. Thank you very much, ma'am.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Good. All right. So, what was your realistic expectation for the Texans last night? Obviously, weighted against what you watched. I mean, it had to be dramatically different. How disappointing is that for the Texans and the Texans, but the fans and a bad night for Houston. Bad night.
I picked the Texans to lose 16-13. I thought it would be low scoring because of a third-string rookie quarterback making his first start. Thought it would be a field goal game won by the Patriots. Had no idea that the Texans would get blown out 27 points. They proved again that white hot spotlight is too big for them, and they weren't ready to play. Bill Belichick showed again why he is a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. Whenever he retires, another magnificent coaching job. The one at Arizona to start the season was as good as I've ever seen. And then this one, winning at Gillette Stadium, they're 27-2 going in their last 29, but that was with Brady. And I think Belichick's like 14-5 without Brady. And so they did a great game plan. Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, did tremendous job, special teams as well. They dominated the Texans in every phase. I've never seen, I think, in my 38 years of covering NFL teams, two players
Guy.
penalties.
Let's bring. John obviously had a little bit of issue with the phone. We'll patch him back up. Get him straight.
Likely on a cell phone somewhere, waking up, getting coffee early.
Don't blame him. Late back Fred. And listen, flying from Gillette or from somewhere, probably Boston. I guess
you gain an hour, but still.
Trust me, going to Texas not easy.
Maybe he got out of there at 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Probably later than that, I would think, right?
The game was over at midnight. Here he is. John, I know we lost you a little bit there. And you're talking about the beauty of the Patriots coaching staff, which is clearly evident. The advantage they had over the Texans players coaching staff because they know them really well, obviously being on Belichick's staff. From a player perspective, we heard about all the injuries or the back injury regarding J.J. Watt, and he just hasn't looked himself so far. Can you give us an update on where he is and when we can expect him to be J.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year that we've seen over the last 4 years or so?
Well, his back had nothing to do with getting 2 tackles. That had to do with the Patriots taking him out of the game. They did that the last time they played too. He's at least 80% and of coming back. He had a sack and a half and a forced fumble in the victory over Kansas City. Obviously, in their first game was nowhere near where he used to be. But remember, he didn't take a snap from the playoff game till the start of regular season, except for 2 days in practice. So it'll take him a while, but that's not an excuse. The Texans were dominated in every fashion. A lot of that they created for themselves. Brock Osweiler's 4th interception in 3 games, 2 fumble kickoff returns, 2 penalties, pass interference penalties in the end zone. And the Patriots special team had the Texans at 11 or inside on 6 of Houston's 11 possessions. And then the Texans didn't cross midfield at 1:35 left in the third quarter, twice in the game. That was incredible.
It's embarrassing when you look at it like that. John McClain, a longtime great NFL writer with the Houston Chronicle. He's in Houston, but obviously branches out to everything NFL. And let's expand it a bit here. And, when you first broke into the business, I mean, it was so different. It's just the way we cover everything is so different. But now, John, and I know you know this, everybody's got to have an earth-shattering proclamation. Week to week, it's got to be this definitive assessment, and people are it's either this or it's not. And I think we've learned that, week to week, the NFL storylines can change quite a bit. So having set all that up and removing the hyperbole that many of us engage in, what do you think truly is a dire situation or a dire game for a player, a coach, or a team on Sunday? Pick one and tell us the most pressing situation.
Oh, the most pressing situation in the NFL, Denver goes on the road to Cincinnati. Broncos started 2-0. The Bengals 1-1. The Bengals want to be taken seriously. They need to win that game. If the Broncos with Trevor Siemian, who was a first-time starter, win in Cincinnati, they're going to be right up there with New England and Pittsburgh as a legitimate Super Bowl contender again, despite their issues at quarterback.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Moving back, I want to move back into the division in the Houston Texans division. Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts. We had a little conversation about them earlier in the show. They feel like they start slow. Like there's not that urgency and intensity at the beginning of games, and they always pick it up because Andrew Luck is such a talented player. But they're in danger of falling to 0-3 against a surprisingly viable San Diego Chargers team. How do they avoid that?
Chargers are playing for a stadium vote. Colts are playing to try to win the division for the third time in 4 years. And tell you what about Indy. Every team in the league beefed up its running game except the Colts. They tried to beef up their offensive line. It's mediocre. Frank Gore, 33, is their running back, and their defense is mediocre at best. There's more pressure on Andrew Luck. Everything is on his shoulders, much more than there should be. They should have done a better job at putting legitimate players around him because he's going to keep getting hit, and it's going to take its toll as it did last season.
John McClain with us here on Tiki and Tierney. I'm a little surprised, John, and I think, listen, when you circle that Bronco game, no doubt, a lot of magnitude there. There's a lot of stories, and Tiki and I have kind of pounded all of them all week here, whether it's the Jaguars, whether it's Kirk Cousins, whether it's the Josh Norman, Odell Beckham Jr. situation, even maybe less important, but certainly a few eyeballs on what the Raiders do, how they bounce back from their first defeat. The Saints are 0-2. I know you've been doing this for a long time, but it's still very, very early in the season. Does this year feel particularly more volatile than others, or is this just the way the NFL's kind of gone, and this is the way it is?
It's just the way the NFL goes. Look at Kansas City last season. Started terribly, bounced back, won a playoff game. Atlanta started 5-0, and then went down the toilet. So it's hard to make judgments. One team that starts fast is going to collapse. It happens every season. One of these bad teams that's off to an 0-2 start is going to rally. Another really interesting game this weekend, if Philadelphia and Carson Wentz beat Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers in Philadelphia, people are going to have to start taking the Eagles for real. I still can't buy it because they haven't beaten anybody, but I picked Pittsburgh to win the Super Bowl before the season.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lose in Philadelphia, what an incredible story that's going to be for Carson Wentz and the Eagles. And Howie Roseman, their general manager, took a lot of grief when Chip Kelly forced him out of the job, and he went down the hall, did the cap, whatever else. Then Jeff Lurie promoted him. He made that deal.